Welcome diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Eerie Gibbs.
And welcome to Convertible Chaos.
That's right, we've got an epic series coming up for you. So round one, we've got 8 cars racing at a time, and the 2 drivers with the lowest score will be eliminated. Then round 2 will be 6 cars, and we're going to carry on down till we get down to a final head-to-head, where we crown the best convertible.
Taking a quick look at how the points work. First place gets 10, second 8, third 6, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on down, and of course a big fat 0 for a total DNF. Alright, let's take a look at who's driving tonight. First up, we got Brandon Fitz driving the Lamborghini Centenario Roadster.
Next up, we've got Lewis Holloway driving the Audi R8 Spyder, and it looks like he can only just see over the steering wheel.
Driving this beautiful old Ford Roadster is James Brook, the winner of the Lambo competition.
Then we've got Matti Brewer, another tournament winner, driving the Pagani Roadster.
Canyon regular Rubber Toe from Monster Motorsports driving that beautiful Corvette ZR1.
Myke Mays in that hot-looking Dodge Viper, although they do have a bit of a record like Mustangs.
Lone Star driving his channel icon, the Porsche 550 Spyder.
And rounding out the field, it's Big Myke driving for NZ Racing in the Austin Healey. Mate, did it look like Myke was wearing lipstick to you?
No, I think that's just windburn because his head sits above the windscreen.
Well, let's just hope he doesn't land on his head.
Well, I guess we should find out. Let's head up and get them started. Alright, race number 1, we've got Lone Star and Matti Brewer in the front row. Matti Brewer, of course, took out our truck tournament. Will he dominate like in that tournament? Well, there goes Lone Star out in front. Myke goes up on the sidewall, Rubber Toe pushing hard. There goes Matti Brewer. Wow, what a race for second and third there.
And would you believe it, 8 cars on the track and every single one of them make it past the finish line.
I gotta say, I wasn't expecting that.
So let's see what happened with Myke. So he bounced off the side of Matti Brewer, then got nailed by Lewis Holloway, manages to get his car under control. Wow, and look at that. That's Brandon Fitz up on his side, pulling a sidewinder there. I didn't even notice him before. I was so focused on the front drivers. Watch him behind there. So Brandon Fitz gets up on his side, manages to drive along the sidewall. Looked like he was getting picked on there by Big Myke and Lewis Holloway. But what a drive up front here. Lone Star holding off Rubber Toe, and then Matti Brewer goes around the outside. Rubber Toe slams him into the wall, and look at that. That is an absolute neck and neck.
Okay, I couldn't tell who took that out. Let's have another look. Oh, they are dead even. Can we get an overhead shot just to see if it is even?
Wow, look at that. That is absolutely dead even. We've got to give them an even score for that one.
So, unheard of in Canyon history. Absolutely dead on side by side. So, Rubber Toe and Matti Brewer in second place equal there. Incredible stuff.
What an amazing start.
So the drivers have rotated around. We've got Matti Brewer and Lewis Holloway in the front row. Holloway trying to make a bit of a breakaway. Matti Brewer right on his tail, gets around the outside of him with a beautiful overtake. And there goes Brandon Fitz as well. Where did he come from?
Oh, wow, I really didn't expect to see Rubber Toe over in that low-slung ZR1. I was expecting that Ford Roadster, and it looks like Myke's parked under the bridge. Let's go back through the replay and find out just what happened there. So a brilliant overtake there from Matti Brewer. Absolutely showing the boys the way. Rubber Toe doing a sidewinder, James Brook doing a sidewinder, but unfortunately neither one of them could get it back under control. Myke gets stuck in behind, manages to get around them, but then he just stalls out under the bridge.
Yeah, that was a stunning drive up front. I mean, Matti Brewer and that Pagani, what a drive. And then, did you see the green Lambo there as well? What a beautiful overtake from Brandon Fitz to get into second place. Yeah, and then right in behind them was a bit of a Donny Brook as they sort of smashed their way across the finish line. But Matti Brewer moves into first place, Lone Star second, Brandon Fitz third, and Rubber Toe fourth. That's shaping up to be a great leader pack. So Lewis Holloway and Brandon Fitz in the front row this time. Matti Brewer and Big Myke in behind, Lone Star and James Brook, and then Rubber Toe and Myke Mays rounding out the field. Brandon Fitz with a good lead. Oh, he goes sideways, holds up the pack and behind, and that looked like Myke goes over, and Lewis Holloway with the last-minute overtake. That was incredible up front there.
Oh, look at that. Big Myke parked up in the cow paddock. What's he doing down there?
Let's go back to the replay and have a look.
So up front, you had Brandon Fitz and Lewis Holloway, and then what? Oh, look at that. Myke got slammed into the wall by Matti Brewer by the look of it, and then he's held up between Lewis Holloway, Matti Brewer and James Brook, and they just shoveled him right off the side of the track.
Well, it is called Convertible Chaos, but Big Myke there getting a face full of wall, slides across the track, manages to get up on the sidewall, but then he just gets shoveled off track by the others. That was brutal play.
You'll see it here, look at that. Matty Brewer slammed him into the sidewall, so Myke gets a gravel face rash, slides along, manages to get up, but just gets mercilessly flipped over the side. But Matty Brewer holds on to the number 1 spot, Lone Star moves into 2nd, Brandon Fitz 3rd, Lewis Holloway 4th, and Rubber Toe drops down to 5th.
Now, because Big Myke finished off track, that means he doesn't get to start this next race, which gives James Brook an extra run at the front row. And he's looking to make the most of it. He leaves the field behind him. Huge big lead here, looking good in the Roadster. Myke goes off. Brook goes over. We've got Brandon Fitz stuck in behind. Rubber Toe going around the outside, and everybody else gets held up right before the finish line. Rubber Toe absolutely caning them with that win, and he'll be the only one to get maximum points.
At least for the other guys that are on their wheels and through Kahuna Corner, they'll get half points, but that's not good news for Myke Mays there. He's going to miss the next race because he finished off track. Where did it all go wrong for Myke? Oh, he just drifted wide off the jump, gets a huge big spinny spin bounce off the sidewall, slams into the Jurassic Park off-roader, and that plows into the food truck. Hopefully no spectators were killed, but James Brook also rolling up front.
Yeah, Brook had an absolutely monster lead here. He was looking good, but just clipped the wall badly. That flipped him over, and then Rubber Toe with a beautiful drift out of Kahuna Corner there, and that set him up to just drive around the outside of Brandon Fitz, who got stuck in behind James Brook. And it looks like Lewis Holloway was responsible for holding up the other drivers there. Disappointing for everybody else. And Rubber Toe laughing all the way to the bank there with a maximum 10 points, moves him into 2nd spot, but Matty Brewer still holds on to the number 1.
Matty Brewer absolutely dominating tonight.
Well, after 2 big off-track accidents, we just need to do a little bit of track maintenance, make sure everything is okay out there. We'll be right back after these ads. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, race fans. All right, the track is looking good, and we're ready to kick off with the second half of Convertible Chaos.
It sure is living up to its name. Let's see how the next lot go.
So Myke Mays having to sit this one out after going off track.
Yeah, super disappointing for Myke, but Big Myke back on track at least.
Now James Brook back in the front row, and he is absolutely flying, trying to make up for last time. Somebody's crashed in the background. Brook spins across the finish line. That looked like Big Myke in for 2nd. Then Fitz, Lone Star, and Brewer. But it looks like Lewis Holloway stalled out in front of Buster's Donuts, and Rubber Toe is over on the side of the bridge. Good grief!
Unfortunately, we don't know quite what happened with Rubber Toe there, but luckily for him, he's technically still on the track, so he won't miss the next race. But Big Myke up the front there gets another concrete kiss, but this time he manages to get his car back on its wheels and run down for 2nd place. That was incredible.
Well, if Big Myke's lips weren't red before, they will be now. He's kissed so much pavement tonight already. Oh, that's just brutally... Luckily, they breed him tough down in New Zealand.
It looked like he had his hand up to try and stop his head hitting the ground there.
Well, you know, safety first, I guess. But Matty Brewer still holding on to 1st place. Brandon Fitz back into 2nd. Rubber Toe with that DNF drops right back down the list.
And it looks like both the Mykes are scrapping for the last place.
Well, May's in the front row now next to James Brook, so Mike's got a chance to get some bigger points on the board and get away from the elimination zone. Him and Brook up front, battling hard. Brook goes over on his side again. Mays goes around. Rubber Toe trying to get past. Myke holds him out. Oh, and that's an accident right on the finish line yet again.
Looked like at least a couple more drivers got over the finish line. Matty Brewer did get past, but he rolled back. But the cross will count. Let's go back through the replay. So up front, what a great battle between Myke Mays and James Brook, but James Brook lost it again there, and he slid almost all the way to the finish line, probably thanks to Rubber Toe. Matty Brewer with a huge big drift in the back there, but Myke Mays slamming poor old Rubber Toe into the wall. Then he got nudged across the line by Lone Star. Brandon Fitz goes through, and Matty Brewer does cross the finish line, even though he rolls back off.
So Matty Brewer just dominating this race, absolutely holding on to number 1 spot. Then we've got Brandon Fitz, Lone Star, Rubber Toe, Lewis Holloway, James Brook, Myke Mays, and Big Myke from NZ Racing.
Well, this should be a good one. We've got Myke Mays and Rubber Toe in the front row this time.
It's Viper versus Vet in the front row. Rubber Toe gets out with a big lead here, but Myke catches him up nicely. They cross the... Oh, Myke goes over the top of Rubber Toe. Rubber Toe manages to get around, and 3 other cars follow him, and Myke gets flipped over and left on the track. James Brook is over again, and that's Holloway and Fitz stuck in behind James Brook.
What was going on up front between Mays and Rubber Toe there? Look at that. Mays bounces up, gets on top of Rubber Toe, hits the sidewall of Kahuna Corner. James Brook in the background getting absolutely monstered by Big Myke there as well.
Looks like Big Myke might have been giving some payback there, but look at this. So Myke Mays gets a huge bounce, goes over the top of Rubber Toe, and then James Brook Gets tossed into the air like a dog's chew toy after that hit from Big Myke.
Yeah, there's some brutal action all across the field there. Rubber Toe's going to have quite a headache after Myke driving right over his head, and then Big Myke just absolutely dishing it out to poor James Brook there. But a great drive from Rubber Toe, keeps his composure, runs down for the win, then Lone Star, Big Myke and Matti Brewer all finish the race.
So with that win, Rubber Toe finally knocks off Matti Brewer from the top of the list, and he takes the pole position. Then we've got Lone Star in second, Matti Brewer third, and Brandon Fitz in fourth so far.
Well, last chance for anybody to get out of the elimination spot.
And we've got the two current points leaders in the front row. They are pushing hard. Matti Brewer in behind, but Rubber Toe gets a good lead here. Oh, James Brook goes over, but he gets back on his wheels. Rubber Toe will take first. Myke Mays takes second. And there's a huge big pile up with everybody stuck in behind James Brook yet again, but at least they're all on their wheels this time.
No doubt James Brook's car is fast, but that high centre of gravity just doesn't seem to be doing it any favours on the canyon track. Look at that, he just rolled himself over, does a beautiful Lily the dog. Then you've got Matti Brewer pushing past Lone Star, but he gets nudged sideways and he ends up the meeting a sandwich
Freezing.
between Lone Star and James Brook.
So Rubber Toe laughing all the way to the bank, picking up maximum points again. A stunning number of wins for Rubber Toe.
But now we're going to have to go to the leaderboard and find out who's going to be eliminated.
So with the drivers all getting half points for that last lap, oh no, James Brook just misses out by half a point.
So that's why Big Myke took him out, just so he could make sure he moved through to the next round.
So unfortunately it's goodbye to Myke Mays and goodbye to James Brook. The other 6 drivers will be moving through to round 2 for the 6-car race.
There certainly was a lot of chaos and carnage on the track tonight. You can see the cars are already looking a little bit worse for wear. I'm expecting to see a lot more paint come off before the end of this tournament.
Yeah, well, they only have to be pretty when they arrive at the canyon because they never leave pretty.
And I've got to say, there are some beautiful looking cars there.
And some very quick rides.
Yeah, James Brook's car was so quick, but unfortunately just couldn't keep it rubber side down.
So 2 more rounds to go. We hope you've enjoyed the first round. Remember, if you have, to hit that like button, leave us a comment, and why not subscribe if you haven't already. Alright, that's enough from us tonight. I'm Tom Spanners Watson. He's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We'll see you next time.